What's up?
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey.
Can you hear me now? All right.
Can you hear, I feel like, yeah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Love it.
There's Mr. Sweet baby David. Sweet baby David. How are you, sir? Maybe. Yes? Yes? Maybe? I like that shirt, David.
Thank you. I think we caught Mike napping.
It was. I just got off work.
All right, we're almost there. Restoration Rebel going live.
In 5, 4,
You got 5
3,
minutes.
2, 1.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It looked like you might have done that once or twice.
Never before. First time ever.
Yeah.
And we're on the page. Okay. Well, you guys talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I'm going to get myself a tasty beverage. Oh, I'm going to pause.
I love that.
And we're recording. Welcome, welcome, welcome to January 30th.
You guys stay in the car.
Restoration Rebel meeting.
Like 3 minutes.
Thank you for being here. Somebody's not muted, but it's all right. So my name is Andy McCabe. I am your Restoration Rebel leader. We start our meetings like we start every meeting with reading the 4 agreements. Who is clicking pen? Stop clicking that pen. Dan Boot, I'm guessing. Okay, here we go. Restoration 2.0. The Restoration Rebels push the agenda of the Restoration 2.0 movement. Our purpose is to empower and educate the insurance consumer in order to create a more fair claims process. And we're actually working on our mission statement. We had a couple meetings this week, so that's going to be refined later. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Rule number 1, I will protect the value of my services. Who is not muted? Darn it. Hold on a second. I'm looking. Somebody's not muted. I swear to sweet baby Jesus. All right, mute. Oh, nice. Okay, here we go. I will never provide free services as these only serve to erode the value of contractor services industry-wide. Rule number 2, I will practice incredible transparency. I will explain our processes in detail to my client. I will never hide details or manipulate reports. I will never communicate with a third party without also communicating with my client. Rule number 3, I do not believe in competition. The restoration companies in my market are part of my community. I will be an active member of the restoration community, which you all are being right now. Thank you very much for being here. It is our unbreakable unity that will create the change that we strive for. Rule number 4, I am willing to walk away from any project, client, or contract that is not compatible with my values and stated mission. No relationship is worth taking part in if it requires losing money, sleep, or my humanity. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ooh, we got a full house. We got a lot of people listening in on their phones. Awesome, welcome. We start every meeting after I do what I just did. New people, who is here for the first time? Raise your hand or just do one of these. Clark Brown, you don't count. Sorry, bro. Sorry, out. Jeremy Newman, I don't know if you've seen your face before. You know? Yes, you are. Unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Tell us where you're at and all the good stuff. Oh wait, I'm gonna unmute you. There, unmute. You might have to push that button, but
yeah,
right again. There we go.
I've been in here 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
I'm actually in San Antonio. That's where I live, but I'm currently working on the coast.
Okay.
So, been in the restoration business for 15 years, and the group's been actually pretty encouraging for me.
Good. What can you go into detail on that? What's the most encouraging? What do you? Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I got you, man. A couple of years ago, I got completely burned, fried, and just I was ready to quit. Actually, I kind of let my business just kind of coast for a couple of years. My wife was diagnosed with cancer, so I went through some stuff.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
I'm not doing this crap anymore.
Right. Yep.
Ran across the Restoration Rebel group, and it kind of reignited some things in me that I had always intended. Kind of lit that spark. It was kind of going before that, but I just happened to run across this. So it's been a great help for me and for me to get reconnected with my values as a restoration guy. So it's been pretty good.
Amen. Good for you. Good for you. We should be able to operate in the way we decide that we want to operate our businesses. There's just no two ways. Thanks for being here. Tom has his wait. Oh, the screen is bouncing now. Tim Rozansky? Where you at, buddy?
Oh, can you hear me, guys?
Now I can. Yep.
All right. New Jersey.
New Jersey. Tell us about you.
I've been watching you guys for quite a bit, and chime in once in a while. Started 2.5 years ago. Absolutely love the business. It's fantastic. You're helping people in the time of need. You get to charge insurance company, but we feel is the right price. I'm learning a lot about O&P and doing really well with that. Going to be starting to offer healthcare next quarter to all employees because of the success we're getting in O&P alone.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's I finally found a home. My only mentor I had before this came from not the Bastion, but a Pure Clean. That taught me a lot, but definitely the underlying of this is how a franchise works. This is how we do program work, and I've always felt that's not where I wanted to be. And once I found you guys, I found a home.
I love to hear that.
Do what I got to do it correctly, and charge for it, and stand behind it.
Yeah, love that. Welcome, man. Welcome. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for being here.
No
I'm going to read something that, if I can minimize this, read something that I found on LinkedIn today. Was it LinkedIn? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was LinkedIn. And I'm not going to read his name, but it really, it's just along the same vein. There was somebody that posted something. They've been a technician for years and years and years. They're 60 years old, and they said they're done. And he was pretty passionate and pretty opened up about his feelings about the industry. And a lot of people chimed in, and this guy chimed in. He says, I couldn't agree more. 14 years in the industry, it was more than enough for me. I had become exactly the person I swore I never would be. I was jaded, disgruntled, and an all-around unhappy person. My family suffered the most, while my friends told me I wasn't the same person I used to be. May of 2016 was my Independence Day, and I haven't regretted it a day since. I think he left the industry. I applaud the efforts of Andy McCabe and his fellow rebels and follow their every move, hoping that their efforts can truly change this industry for the good. How awesome is that? Love it. And that's not me. That's us. We are doing this. We are making an effect, and gotta love it. Kevin Dooley, good to see your beard. Good to see you again. How you been? Hey, why don't you, we don't have a solid agenda tonight, but I'd like to hear a little feedback on the, which summit did you just go to? It wasn't a summit. It was what event did you just go to?
Oh, is that Abundance 360?
Abundance 360. They're talking about technology and what's coming. Did you have any takeaways that might be pertinent to us here?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff. Autonomous vehicles is coming along pretty large, I guess.
Oh yeah, autonomous vehicles. Okay.
Yeah, GM is releasing their first steering wheel-less car in 2019.
Next year.
Yep.
That's gonna be scary.
Yeah. Things in something's pretty amazing. Could be applied to our industry. It's really going to apply to all industries, but they've now developed a 3D printer that can print on an atom level.
What? At the atomic level.
At the atomic level. So that's pretty huge. Blockchain and crypto is a big conversation. Blockchain is going to be the new internet. Advancements in AI is pretty huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was actually a conversation with Astro Teller on moonshots, which is pretty huge. Those who don't know who Astro Teller is, he's the head of Google X. There was actually a half-day conversation on the future of work. So they were talking about upwards of, I think it was 12 million jobs are going to be displaced in the next 3 to 5 years.
12 million jobs gone.
In the U.S. alone.
In the U.S. Yep. What are those people going to do? Yeah.
They're actually pretty positive about it. It's like, they use the analogy like farming, right? Back in the early 1900s, I forget the percentage, but a significant percentage of the workforce were in the farming industry. And now today there's like 3 or 5%. So it's new jobs come. So it's just the in-between time, right?
Yeah. All those auto body shops, when cars are driving themselves, they don't wreck. So the auto body shops are going to have to start like doing something else. I think they're going to start converting regular cars into autonomous electric, doing conversions.
There is conversions kits. Actually, there's a couple companies doing conversions.
Yeah, you posted something, a little widget, like $100 chip could make any car autonomous.
Well, it's going to be interesting as it relates to restoration. Like, autonomous cars actually is probably going to have a profound effect in the next decade plus, especially for property. Less use for parking spots. Less people traveling to malls, more people buying online. What does that do for real estate? More people sprawling out. There's a lot of different potential challenges that might come. But
wow. Well, thanks for sharing, Kevin. Good to see you, brother. Do we have a new guy in there? I saw a new face jump around. Anybody else new tonight? Sean Connor. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. You're wearing your shirt. I love it. Represent. Wait, unmute. Come on. It won't let me. You tried. Can you push on your screen? Find the unmute button. There you go.
There you go. You got me?
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Sean. I'm in San Antonio as well. I've been in the business since 2003. Love the business and very, very passionate about it. I was referred over to y'all just a few weeks ago by a friend and colleague out of Abilene, Chris Jeter. And is really interesting. I'm really enjoying the group so far. There's so much that I've been passionate about, and I kind of felt alone out here. I always hear this about we've never seen an invoice to this amount. It's
no one else bills for that.
Yeah. So it always makes me wonder: is anybody out here doing what they're supposed to do?
Exactly.
Does anybody know their craft? Why is everybody having so much trouble getting paid? I have trouble, but we always collect it. And it's not a humongous amount of trouble. And we kind of experienced that as we really learned our craft, and we started doing more things like, Chuck DeWald schools and things of those nature. So it's definitely really, really nice to find you all and get to see the interaction that's happening.
Welcome to the family.
Well, thank you.
You're not alone. I've heard that similar story. Thanks for sharing, brother. So many times people like, man, I thought I was the only one. And it's lonely out there. It can be just depressing. So welcome. I want to put a matter to bed that just keeps coming up. And I'm going to try to be diplomatic about it and try to leave any names out. But there is an association that started right about the time we started. And at that time, the leader of that organization reached out to me, and we had some great conversations. At that time, I believed that our organizations were in alignment and we could help each other out. I even went so far as to take my 24-hour tech paperwork and the scope sheets that I use for claims delegates and put their logo on it and then distribute it. But something happened this year that we are no longer compatible, and we are not associated with them in the way that I would have liked it to work out. So for everyone's information, we are not associated with anybody. We are not a subgroup of anyone. We are not in alignment with another group who is going to push their agenda on us. We have our own agenda. All right. And I just don't want to talk about it anymore. So I'm sick of it. So don't ask what the difference is between rebels and anyone else. We are the rebels. We are here for a purpose. We're here to be a family. We are here to push our agenda and push our way of doing business and bring us all along and raise the tide for everyone. And that will include members of this other group, because we're going to rise the tide. The tide's going to rise, and we are going to be boats on it, and they are going to be too. So we are not them. They are not us. We don't talk. We don't share. Done. Okay. Man, I went through it without even naming anything. Are you proud of me? Clark, where are you at? Clark, how did I do? You want to say something? Clark, why don't you add something to that?
I do want to add something to it.
Please do.
I want it also to be a caveat that you can be present in both groups.
Sure.
We're not calling exclusivity on trying to change the industry. I don't want to alienate anyone that is a fan of another group. I mean, I'm in several groups. So is
sure.
Andy, and so are a lot of people here. I want that to be the message. But if the dialogue turns to why can't we all be the same? I wish we were, and then again, I wish we weren't. So we're not the same. We're the purple cow in the pasture full of black and brown organizations. So I haven't slipped yet and said who it was. I haven't named anybody yet, have I?
Nope, not yet.
I just, there is no battle. I want everyone to know that this is not a east side, west side.
No.
Outsiders. This is not the greasers in the what do they call them? The other side from that movie, Outsiders. It's not about that. I honestly, I want to say, and I know Andy and Kevin and so many people here, we don't spend our day figuring out how we're going to compete with someone else in our circle. We're figuring out what we're going to do about our circle. We're going to fix our stuff. We have so many enemies outside. We're not going to fight inside. And that's my 2 cents. But I just want other people to know, no one has to leave. Just if you're going to be here, be here. That's it.
And yeah, we don't believe in competition. So why would we compete with anyone else? RIA, we don't compete with RIA. We don't badmouth RIA. We have members who are in RIA. And I encourage everyone who feels that is good for their professional development to join RIA. It doesn't take anything away from me. It doesn't take anything away from this group to be a member of another group. It's like you can be a better part of the Better Business Bureau or the Chamber of Commerce. Does that mean you can't be a restoration rebel? Absolutely not. So, yeah, there's a great book, Alibaba's World. Jack Mao. Jack Mao. Anyway, Jack Mao. Yes, Kevin. Is that Jack Mao, Alibaba? I don't know. Great book, Alibaba's World, the story of probably the biggest company that will ever be, and they're coming out of China. Jack, the leader, would get all this information from his reports. His managers would come, hey, look at what Google's doing, look at what Amazon's doing, and almost every time he'd say, I don't want to see what they're doing, because their journey, their path is not our path. So our success is going to be determined by our path that we determine. So it doesn't matter what these other people outside us are doing, because they're not us. Same thing applies here. They're not us. We are us, and we're going down a path. So that's that. That's what I wanted to say tonight. So Bob and Christine, you guys look so cute. You're just sitting there. Oh, I love it. I love it. What else came up this week? Overhead and profit. I am going to actively put together a list of dates, insurance company, zip code, and O&P paid. I'm going to have a list of that. I don't have it yet. I wish everyone would just send me that information, a picture of a check, and say, this was the insurance company. This is the date it was paid. It was overhead and profit was on it. And, this is the zip code. So we don't need to get too detailed about it. But at the end of the day, overhead and profit isn't the end goal. That's not the end game. The end game is being able to charge what we want to charge, a fair rate for a fair day's work in our market. Now, if we really wanted to not fight about it, we could just use our own price lists. I spent a half day yesterday with Joe Ledbetter in Portland. He was giving an Xactimate and price list feedback class. And I'm going to go up to Yakima and catch his class mid-February as well. It's a 2-day class. Also going to San Diego to see Mr. Watley. I'm going to be level 3 certified in a couple weeks. Anyway, we have the power we have the ability to change our own price lists. And if you're on a program, you're kind of stuck. But you can still do pricing feedback if you're on a program. You can change the price list, copy the estimate, close the estimate, market complete, and provide feedback to your market. And we have it in our power. So if we're doing mitigation work, why don't we charge $35 a day or $36 a day, whatever you determine according to your overhead and your burden and your depreciation schedule. There's nothing saying you can't change that price. And if you're charging in the 30s for air movers and you're charging a minimum of 175 or something for a DHU, I'm not saying this is what you should charge. I'm just saying hypothetically, your overhead would be built into your price list at that point, and you wouldn't have to put in 10 and 10 and have this argument every day, right? I'm still going to argue for 10 and 10 for people that can't manipulate that price list because of one reason or another. But there's more than one way to skin this cat. And changing your own price list and doing that is another way to skin that cat and make sure that. Great post today, by the way. I don't forget who posted it. We are successfully charging 10 and 10, and now we can offer healthcare to our employees. That's what it's about. Providing for our families and our employees' families, and so we're not having to. I fully believe a water damage technician, properly trained and with proper experience, should be earning $75,000 a year. There's nothing wrong with that, because they earn that. They make that money. They make that money 10x or 100x. But we've got to take our destiny in our own hands, and we've got to make that happen. Anybody have anything? Any opinions on an overhead and profit versus price list? Changing your own price list. Anybody got something to say about that? Come on, don't leave me hanging. All right. Well, in the meantime, tonight is brought to you by an unpaid endorsement for Deschutes Brewery. The Sage Fight Imperial IPA is one of the best beers I've ever had. So, there you go. All right. There was 3 people. That's good. Who's first?
Yeah, I was going to say that I didn't even own Xactimate for the first 8 years of my career.
Exactly.
And for some reason, I decided to start using it. That kind of coincided with the time that maybe I started burning out as well. So, but I had my own price list, and probably had I know at least 20% in there, and never charged O&P. So, I'm going to go back to that old antiquated system I was using before. Yeah. So,
Clark's folks don't charge overhead and profit, and they have their own system. They don't use Xactimate, and they don't have a problem getting paid, do you?
Well, we built it into our price, so
yeah.
We do. We just put it on we don't put it on a big shiny postcard saying this is what it is. It's
exactly.
in there. That's our price.
Exactly.
Chick-fil-A charges overhead and profit, and every bite you have has got overhead and profit built into it.
Right, because you can't run a business if you don't cover your overhead and if you don't make a profit. You're not a business at that point. You're a charity, and we don't run charities.
Red Cross.
Red
When
Cross.
you do that, are you still using the same line items? Are you still, does it still lay out the same on your invoicing?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can go in. I mean, in not just the price, the labor. You know, I go in, for guys that know, they know their burden and they know their labor, and I change that for them. I wrote $20 million worth of estimates last year, so I wish everyone was doing it because I could have had a huge effect on underlying price lists in a lot of regions. So yeah, you go in and say, okay, what is this labor? Is $16 an hour enough in my market for a water tech? And you go, well, no, with this burden and what, our benefits and stuff like that, it needs to be closer to 25. So you change that, $25 an hour. And then you go into labor efficiencies. What's funny? If you look at Xactimate, they think that a carpenter is less efficient than a demolition guy. Because you go into labor efficiencies and demo is sitting at 15% labor efficiency, meaning 15% of their time is wasted, in just this or that. But the carpenter waste factor for labor is 33%. Why are demo guys more efficient? I would argue that water guys and demo guys are less efficient with their time than a carpenter is. Carpenter comes in, does a job, and goes out, right? So I also change that labor efficiency to closer represent the reality of working as a water damage technician, which is not an efficient. You can be more efficient always, but it's not. I think that labor efficiency needs to be higher. 33% or 35% or whatever you deem, and once again, whatever you deem is accurate for your business. I can't say that everyone should be at 33 or everyone should be charging 27. I can't say that because I don't know your business. But that's, you use the same line item. And it comes up as the same WTR, LAB. It's the same line item. But you got to understand, and that's something that Ben Jessusen really preaches. You got to understand the machine that you're running. If you don't understand Xactimate at a level 3 level, well, you don't really understand. You don't know how to get into the motor and you change your plugs, or you don't even know how to change your air filter because you're just using it as a dumb machine. And what he says, you're an order taker. Well, do you want to be an order taker or do you want to be a contractor? And he has a point. Those of us that don't really understand Xactimate and don't use the tool, the deep level tool that it is, well, we're just taking orders. We're just moving paper. So that's big. Who else had something to say about OMP?
Hey, Andy, I just got a question real quick about
Yes, sir.
Xactimate. Is it here for the long haul?
I believe that it's not. I believe it's not. I believe AI and automation and folks like We Go Look, who are doing insurance inspections for Crawford, they're going to come up with their own system. They're going to come up with their own valuation. Lemonade, they're not going to use Xactimate. They don't use it now. I don't know what they use to value their losses, but they're paying out losses, homeowners and renters losses right now. They're not using Xactimate. So I don't believe long term. No, I don't. 5 years from now, we're going to be looking at several different platforms, but the insurance landscape's going to look so different then as well. We're not going to buy insurance in the same way. We're not going to use insurance in the same way. All these cars, we're not going to own cars in 10 years. We're going to rent cars. It's going to be transportation as a service. The ownership, the cost of ownership of a car is going to be too much. You say, well, Uber, you own my truck, and I'll just call you when I need it, and I'll get a ride somewhere. So Xactimate long term, 5 years. Yeah, it's going to be here. 10 years, I don't know. I really don't. And Xactimate folks, if you want to know more, call me. I'm easy to find. I'm here. Anyway, Clark Brown, go ahead, bro. Maybe he's kind of stalling out, but his hand is raised. He's such a polite boy. Oh yeah, he's stalled out. Who else has something to say about overhead and profit?
I'm just tired of fighting for it all the time.
Yeah.
It never ends, and I blame Xactimate for this stuff, and I blame, ourselves, of course, but for them to release a price list that becomes the unofficial standard across our industry, and to pull the shit that they pull with the overhead and profit is I don't know, a mistake. No.
Well, here's the deal.
If we'll just wait a second now. If we're all entitled to it, and no matter what we're doing, 1 trade, 20 trades, doesn't matter. Why are they breaking it out? The homeowner's even entitled to it, right?
Yes, they are.
My understanding.
Absolutely.
So why isn't everything together? One reason, right? Follow the money. So anyway, I don't know. I just get sick of this O&P conversation and fighting for everything on every single invoice that I submit. It's just never ending. We don't pay for this. We don't pay for that. You know what? But I'm getting paid, man, and we're doing good work, and I'm standing my ground, and I know that there's other guys in my market too that are doing the same thing. So come on, man, bring it.
Speaking of other guys in your market, who here has reached out to somebody else in their market to have lunch, have coffee? I did. Blaine?
Yep.
Sweet. Who else? Clark? Yes. Clark, you've done a lot of driving. Mike, are you still watching TV, Mike? Or can you unmute?
I think I literally have one competitor in my market that I don't know. Everybody else is a smile and a wave and a handshake every time we see each other. It's a pretty close.
Do you guys have a set meeting?
No, we don't have a set. Every once in a while, we'll all get together and go to lunch, or we haven't job together or whatever, go to lunch, but not any kind of set thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I got Service Master in my area. I used to work for a Service Master. I'm gonna meet with that owner here probably next week or two, just kind of touch base with him. So they're pretty big. They do a lot of stuff. So then I'm gonna go. Paul Davis is another big one too that I'm gonna hit and talk to them too as well.
Good. And I'm trying to get the folks in my market, at least 4 or 5 of them, to come together so we can talk about pricing feedback. Pricing feedback is it's just, if we're going to continue to use Xactimate, that's the only way we're going to be able to do it, is to get the pricing where it needs to be. But if you're not using Xactimate, heck, yes. I mean, there's no rule that says you have to, unless you're on a program. We've been lulled into this illusion, and I hate to say this because this is what I do for a living, but you don't need Xactimate to do your job, right? They need Xactimate or something like it to do their job, but it's not your job. We write Xactimate estimates as a courtesy to the insurance company, so they can be lazy about quantifying a loss. Yeah, I'm gonna
go ahead and say it now.
Go ahead,
say it now. Before this year is over with, I'm either going to be part of or help or something develop a platform much like all of the project management software that we're currently seeing, with the ability to do a line item pricing using the measurements that you put into that program, much like your Moisture Mapper.
I have one.
Who's that?
We use a program that you can automatically put it in your whatever you use, and it actually does it for you. I don't know what it's called. I've been using it for almost a year now. You have to put it in a format on your iPad or whatever you're using right there on job site, and it does it for you.
You put in your own custom price list. You upload yourself, or?
Yep, your own custom price list. And you just click on the button, whatever it is, whether it's air movers or DUs or whatever you do, and it does it for you.
You don't have the name of it?
No, I have to find out what it is.
Yeah, post it up in a group.
I'm waiting for Kevin. Kevin Dooley, come on, man. I know you got something coming. I'm waiting for you.
When's that baby gonna hit? Come on, baby. Give me a glimmer.
I have an idea of but if it already exists, let's just use that. But I haven't seen it yet.
I'll get it. I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's been my big thing for a long time.
But the key is we can all use 6 different programs for everything.
Mm.
I want to find the one that does it all.
Mm.
I want to find the one that is my inbound.
That's
the
right,
one
Dean.
that settles. Am I breaking up?
No. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to switch Wi-Fi. Okay, I want one that can do my inbound, that can do my dry logs and moisture mapping. And David Sweets raises his hand. Man, set up a demo, David. I mean, you know the industry's begging for it. Everybody says they got something. Shane O'Dazier, I got you something. Just do it.
Do it. Just do it. Hey, I've got a close friend of mine who's written a book about her travels through Europe, through a hard time in her life, and I was there in parts of that journey during that time. But she wrote a book about it. She's revised it. She's uploaded it to Amazon. It's actually in CreateSpace, where Amazon authors go to. That's where I went to publish my book. She's revised it 7 times. It's still not in print because it's not perfect. Perfection is the enemy of progress. I am a big believer in the minimum viable product. Get it the fuck out there. Get it in people's hands. And then you get the feedback that you need to make it better. Christine was the first night she had my book, she butchered it, but it was awesome. It was good because I mean I don't read so good, so I don't spell so good, evidently. But she edited my book for me, and version 3 is going to be so much better because of that feedback. I wouldn't have gotten that feedback if I'd have kept it to myself and made it, it's got to be perfect first. So my number one piece of advice for anybody, if you got something like a software product, it doesn't need to do everything. It needs to do one thing good, but it doesn't need to look perfect or be perfect to do that. So get it out there. Just let us play with it. And we'll tell you if it's good or not. We'll give you feedback, and it's going to be better because of it. So, Kevin, when can we expect to see something? No? Nothing.
I don't have anything right now, buddy.
All right.
But David does. He wants to say something. What do you got, Dave?
I want to hear David. I want to hear Mr. Sweet. Sweet, baby sweet.
Turn the mute off, David.
I'm just going to let him talk for a while.
You got to push mute on your screen, David.
It's on the screen here. Let me reach up here. There we go. Go ahead.
I didn't mute me. Andy must have muted me.
I must have done that. Yes.
Yeah. See. Okay. No. We've got a workable product. It's been about 5 years actually functioning, and it does pretty much everything. Clark's got to look at it. His comment on that it was less than completely user friendly, which I. Well, and this is the thing. Anybody who's ever built a piece of software realizes that the more comprehensive you make it, the more complicated it becomes, so it can handle everything, which makes it less than user friendly. Everybody loves their iPad, but try and change the screen font and resolution on your iPad. Try and do anything outside of the really narrow things they let you control, and welcome to an incredibly frustrating experience.
Yes.
But the reality of it is, David, look who's going to be using it.
I know.
And I'm not putting anybody down, but your text, it's not the project manager, it's not the admins, it's not the owner of the company. You're going to have a group of techs in the field, and they will not buy into it if they need a master's degree. They just won't. They'll go back.
It's just got to be this simple.
They'll go back to paper.
Yep.
They'll go back to paper and pad. They'll go back to what news so they can get to the next job.
Yeah. That's the problem.
In the world, the world wants an app. Everybody wants the whole world is changing because of interface and convenience, and that's really it. I mean, there's some good stuff out there right now. It just doesn't have these. Everything has a different component. So I'm not a software guy, but chocolate peanut butter makes great Reese's cups.
I'm not a software guy either. I spent 2.5 years trying to make 24-hour tech into an app. I had to give up. It's just I didn't have the skills.
I can tell you firsthand, incredibly complex.
Gary Vaynerchuk just came up with a new book. Recommend it. All right. Sorry. David, I interrupted you. I'm not rude. I'm a rude guy.
No, all I was just saying is, if you've never done it before, creating something that's intuitive is not intuitive. It's very, very difficult. Putting together a variety of different functionality is not simple to do.
Yeah.
And God, I wish it was just, putting chocolate next to peanut butter and making a Reese's cup. We have it, and we probably only $750,000 in a rewrite to make it everything you're looking for and make it oh so simple and sweet and pretty. Anybody has a little extra cash they'd like to put to good use, I got a place for it to go, and you can change the industry with it.
Make it
there
happen.
You go.
We got a total of 10 non-video participants. So I can't see if you did or did not raise your hand. Anybody on the phone have some feedback? I'll see if I can find you and unmute you. Or 10
I got
and 10.
something interesting I want to share.
Yes, sir.
In my province state, our lovely government just passed legislation this year that we have to pay every on-call employee 3 hours.
What?
Yeah. So for us, we have 8 technicians that are on call every day. So that's going to cost us about $250,000 right to our bottom line.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So wait, every on-call, how do they know if they're on call or not?
So we have an on-call schedule, as everyone I'm sure does, right?
Okay.
Yep.
And we rotate our staff daily. So we have 8 different personnel on call every day. And whether they get called out or not, we have to pay each of them 3 hours. So if they go out, great, we recover the 3 hours. But if they don't, we pay the 3 hours for each tech.
What state are you in?
That's incredible.
In Ontario.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's going to start spreading across Canada too.
So what's that mean? Nobody is on call? I mean,
I don't know. Well, we can't. It's actually I'm a subcontractor for those of you that don't know.
sure.
It's a little bit different for me, but I'm actually getting calls now from a lot of the local contractors saying we're going to ditch our emergency services altogether and just sub it all to you.
And you're going to be our on-call. Yeah.
In one respect, it's good, but that just means more on-calls.
Yep.
So I'm
For
not
you.
quite sure how we're going to figure that out. But everyone in our province is going to deal with it, but it's like, fuck me. I don't know. It's brutal.
I got fired for that in college. I was working at a pizza joint. I was working at Arby's. I was working at a pub, greatest pub in Corvallis. Oh, Jerry Edel and I actually ate there when we had a meeting in Corvallis. So pizza joint they put all their drivers on call, like 10 people at a time. And then if a night got busy, they would peel them off the on-call and bring them on. Well, I was like 10th or 11th driver, and the pub calls up, Clodfelters calls up and says, hey, we got a guy didn't show up. Can you work tonight? I'm like, yes, I can. So I went and worked at the pub. Lo and behold, pizza joint got busy. They called me and I said, hey, I'm working. And they said, don't show up tomorrow. So yeah, on-call is tough. It was an unpaid on-call. So I see the other side of it as painful being on call, but man, there's other ways to compensate people. That's just too bad. Ugh, it's brutal. So that's like a minimum wage times, I don't know, you're paying somebody for nothing. I don't get that.
So we pay them overtime regardless if they're in overtime or not, as soon as they get dispatched out after hours.
Of course.
Wow.
Of course.
So we, I don't know, we treat the guys pretty fair. We pay above average.
Yeah.
But this one's going to be a killer. I'm not sure how we're going to deal with that.
It's going to be expensive, and there's going to be guys that they're not going to be able to do it. That's for sure.
No.
Sounds like you might have to raise your rates on a few things to cover that overhead, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh,
Well,
How can you avoid it?
I'm probably going to have to. It's just hard being sub. So we still need to be at a point where the lead restoration contractor can still make their margin. So we're playing on thin margin, high volume. So it's a tough situation. We know if we add a couple extra bucks an hour, that's a big difference for guys like you to make that needed percentage, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you were a sub of mine, I wouldn't really honestly give a shit what your bill was. Whatever it was, I just add my 10 and 10 and be done. I'm that guy. I don't know. So
I mean, there is that. But once again, it's I hate playing by other people's rules. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But actually, you're not really including all the things you need to include, Blaine. By adding just 10 and 10 on top of a subcontractor's bill, you miss the fact that you have management of a subcontractor. None of them operate in a vacuum. There's still overhead of your company that is actually included to manage that subcontractor, that if you don't capture it, this is where you hemorrhage cash.
good points.
And I hate the concept and theory that we all work for 10 and 10, because we don't. We work like every other company that I know of. 30% labor, 30% materials, 40% O&P, and then we put the rest of it on top. If we pass through every single thing that we did with just 10 and 10 on it, heck, we'd be 6 or 7% down just in our workers' comp and our CGL. That when we figure out our gross labor, since most of us don't separate out our accounting like that, we're 6 or 7% right off the top of that, because we're paying for that, even though we have a subcontractor doing it. But because we're not taught that, we don't necessarily know. We pass most of our subcontracted work down around 65 to 70%. And that's once we make sure that we spread everything all the way through and capture all the stuff that most people don't actually charge for.
Who here is part of a franchise? Anybody here part of? Oh, Blaine. Yep. So not only do you have all that to deal with, but you've also got to pay your franchise fees of 8%. That's just got to be brutal. Oh, more than that. Okay. Oh my God. Tyler Otto, I haven't seen you on here before. What's your story, bro? And look, he's going to unmute with his big finger. Oh, wait. Okay, I'll unmute. Right there.
I'm usually on my phone.
Ah, well, welcome to the video. You got something to say about the subject or anything else?
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I think that adding 10 and 10 to the bills with no justification other than just clicking the button is a problem. Now, I do, as Andy knows, I do a lot of program work, so I'm dictated to play by the program rules. But the thing that I would be frustrated for on the other side is that you just click 10 and 10, but you are uploading using the exact same pricing. You're saying, hey, I need this to make my margins. Not disputing that you might need it to make your margins, but you're not making a very good argument to the insurance company, because they're just saying, well, you're just clicking buttons in this software program. You're not showing them that you've done your work to prove those margins. And then second, David, I was able to type a message to him, made a great point. It's like 10 and 10 is not enough to cover any sort of subcontractor work unless you did only pick up your phone and then never have to think about it again. But anytime you're spent paying their bill, manage them on the job site.
What if you pay them on a reasonable schedule? You pay them on a reasonable schedule, but then the insurance company or the owner or client hangs you out 90 days.
So anytime someone says, if we have an adjuster, even with our program job, they say, hey, we'll just sub it out and add 10 and 10. I always say, hey, we're going to add project management hours to have a separate schedule for the hours it takes to manage them, pay them, all that. Because if 20% you can't make, you will go out of business at 20%.
Yeah, because it's not even 20. That's gross is 16.8.
So I think if I was any jobs we do that are not insurance related, we work with home builders. We don't use Xactimate. We really do have our own price list, and we use it in our same software, and it's pretty basic. We just charge it, and we're not using Xactimate, and there's plenty of overhead and profit in those prices.
Because you can make margins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the summit and seeing OP again. And they just OP did a genius job, just great job of defining his client, defining his ideal client, and pricing his services accordingly. It's just, when we do those things, you mean like a real business, you know, we're so lazy sometimes as restoration contractors, because the software incentivizes us to be lazy, and we've been lulled into this thing where there used to be great money in it, but the reality is the prices have stagnated for 15 years, and now there's not great money in it. So we got to stop being lazy and look at our businesses again.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, Andy, we're all looking at this. When I hear people, am I the only one getting really bad signal tonight? Maybe so.
No, Tyler was stuttering a little bit, but it's all right.
Well, when we start talking about, and I think I know what Tyler was saying, but what I heard was you can't just go in and do that. But according to who? According to according to the carrier. They're the ones that have been brainwashing us, telling us this is how you should start charging for the next couple of years. Everybody's frozen.
No, we are not frozen.
but what I'm saying is, when I hear you can't just go and do that for the carriers. Well, I think that this sounds like the carrier making the rules, saying what you can't, and that's why I think we're where we are. And
yeah,
I think that's just, to me, that's what 2.0 is get out,
yes.
Read, go undercover, get a job with the carrier for a year, go through their training, learn what they're supposed to ask for, and you won't get upset when they call you anymore. You'll say, okay, thank you, and the check shows up. But they ask, and they send the check to the homeowner. That's it.
Yep.
Hey, did you guys happen to see the message from Tim underneath the live on the Facebook that he's actually being sued right now by a carrier?
No, I'm not looking at the Facebook feed. Sean,
Yeah.
you got? Yeah. I'm gonna go look over there right now. Sean, you got something to add to that? Let me see. I'm gonna unmute you.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was just going to add, when they are making the rules or trying to make the rules, if you're having the same experience as I've always had with insurance, you can't trust them to make the rules either. They're not working with integrity, honesty. They're not looking forward to or looking towards taking care of their client properly or making them whole. So how can you trust them to make any rules?
No, there's that story about the snake, the old snake. This girl walks by, he's walking up the hill, and the snake says, could you carry me up that hill? I'm old. I'm an old snake. I can't quite make it up the hill. And she says, no, I'm not going to carry you up that hill. You're going to bite me. And the snake says, no, I'm not going to bite you. I'm old. I need to go up the hill. So she picks up the snake and says, okay, don't bite me. Carries halfway up the hill, snake bites her. She drops over and she falls down. Why did you bite me? And he says, you knew I was a snake. Their rules and their guidelines are for one reason, to make money. It's not going to be for any other reason. Now, the next version of Insurance 2.0 is going to be different. It's going to be very client-centric. It's going to be, the metrics are going to change because they realize through their own analysis that every time they have a loss, they lose an insured. And they're finally putting two and two together and saying, well, these TPAs said we were going to have higher client satisfaction, and all their data says we have higher client satisfaction every time they use us, but we're still losing we're losing insureds because the claim process is not set up to make someone whole or happy or satisfied. The claims process, as it is right now, is set up to be a pain in the ass. And they know it because no one wants to go through a claim. It's just like big dread. No one wants to go through a claim. And so all these rules, they're the snake. We have to believe them that they are a snake, and they're going to act in their best interest accordingly. And we can shortcut. We can hotwire this thing now because we are in the best position to take care of their clients. We can communicate to agents about claims and let the agent come in and take some of the heat or do some intervention so that maybe they keep that client after the claim, because the agent is very incentivized to keep that client. They need those premiums to keep coming in. So if we take care of the client, we take care of the agent, we have immense communication, and we own our own data and the metrics that say this client is actually happy with Allstate, Mr. Allstate adjuster, this Mr. Allstate manager, Mr. Allstate CEO. This client is enthusiastically happy with Allstate because of the way we handled the claim for you, the way we handled your loss, the way we handled the adjuster and the agent. We have the power to do that, but we can't do that on their terms. We got to do it on our own terms. That's why we're here. That's what Restoration 2.0 is. That's what the rebels are going to do. And we got to be rebellious to do it sometimes. We got to be, we got to throw that tea in the harbor sometimes to get the attention, to get the, no, we are not going to play by these rules. But yeah, game is going to change, and it's going to change. We're in a position to react faster than they are because they're too big. Go ahead, Sean.
It seems to me that it's going to take grouping together, and that's what I like about what I'm seeing here. Again, we probably have all heard this a lot, but I was just out on a job that I got called out onto by a contractor to come do a mitigation for him the other day, and I was dealing with a guy coming down here from New Jersey, and he's going to be handling stuff for this contractor here residentially. And we dealing with the adjuster. Once again, I heard crazy stuff come out of the adjuster. We were on site with her, just crazy. And it's one of those deals where they want to cut a $4,000 check on a $20-something thousand loss. And the guy that I'm now talking with, that I'm working with from the contractor there, that is come down here from New Jersey, he is real relaxed, and he's talking about they're waiting for this scope to come from the insurance so they can see what are we going to do. And I don't get it.
What are you going to give me? What are you going to give me?
What are you going to give me? And then we're going to work off of that. We're going to negotiate from it. And I'm saying, how can you do that? There's no negotiating. How do you negotiate whether you do proper work or not and you do everything you're supposed to do? How do you negotiate it? But it's the mentality, and as long as it's there and they have people that are going to give them that, we got an issue.
It's the Tiny Tim. Please, sir, may I have another?
Yeah.
What are they going to allow? What's the insurance going to give me? What do the insurance pay? Who cares?
Okay, I kept saying that, and they don't get it. And I don't get it because almost everybody that I come in contact with does not get it when I say, who cares?
Yeah.
Why do you want to see their scope? I don't ever want to see their scope. I don't care. I'm submitting my scope.
Their scope is not, I can't use their scope on my contract.
Exactly.
I can't take, it's not on my letterhead. It's not part of my contract. And guess what? I can't vouch for their expertise in the subject matter. They're not subject matter experts in rebuilding structures. So why are we doing that? Yeah, Sean, you're exactly, it's 100% right.
And then what are we dubbed as? I'm dubbed with somebody that is hard to work with.
You are.
I'm sure.
I'm going to talk to the claims department and make sure they don't ever recommend you anymore, because they're recommending you a lot now, right? That's the word. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Well, I'm going to make sure that you don't get recommended anymore. That's like, okay, when was the last time you sent me a claim? Oh, never. All right, then we're square. Yep. We're good. God, they don't have the power. They need us. We don't need them. They need us. We don't need them. Just like TPAs. TPAs sell contractors to carriers. If you don't understand that, think about it. TPAs need contractors to sell coverage. They need to prove coverage to carriers so they can get these contracts, so they can charge us their 5% on every claim for just being there. TPAs need contractors on their programs so they can prove geographic coverage to the carriers. What happens when we say no? TPAs go away. They just go away. There's a lot of programs. I know a contractor. He's out of the valley. He's a franchise guy in the valley. He's not a franchise guy here. He's raising another flag. The programs came to him and said, "When are you going to turn on?" And he said, "Never." How about a day after? Never. Because he knows that he's better at marketing. He's better at pricing his own services. And he's better at customer service when he's not under the thumb of a TPA. And he's going to go get that work. TPAs, oh, we'll give you all this work. We'll give you all this work. Well, what are you paying for that work? They say, oh, we're going to, you know what? I'm getting on a TPA rant, aren't I? But I'm going to finish. Oh, well, consider the 5% fee or your 8% fee that we're charging you as marketing that you don't have to do. I tell you what, you take 1% of your revenue and put it in Facebook advertising, you're going to get more business than you know what to do with. So screw your 8% fee as marketing for shitty jobs under a shitty program. Oh, all right, I'm done. Sorry.
Well,
wow.
well before you take out for marketing, add back in what you're losing by being on the TPA anyway.
Right.
Get back up to your 8-9 points. So then talk to me about how much I'm saving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a
16-point swing.
Yeah, let's talk about the summit. Who in the group has bought tickets? Who is good to go? Jerry, me.
Yep. Bob, Steve.
They're moving. Hotel's good to go. They still got plenty of rooms.
Okay,
it's gonna be good. Isn't it?
How many rooms are left? Did we get to the bottom of how many rooms are left?
I think no.
Originally they told us there was only one more room left, but hearing today that I guess the clerk screwed up. She didn't know what she was talking about.
Yeah, Jennifer called them, and we think that there's about 25 to 27 rooms left.
Yeah, but when they're gone, and those are the best price you're going to find in Nashville in that month. At $178 a night, you're not everything in Nashville is $250 and up. It's just the way it is. That it's conference season. So get those. If you want to stay at the hotel, buy those tickets. And
What is the cost on the tickets? I haven't even seen anything yet.
Well, until Thursday, they're $358 or $368. What are they, Bob? You guys? I don't. It's $350, $60. Thursday, they're going to go $580. So
I'm curious.
What all really goes on at these summits?
Well, we're going to have. How many speakers? We ended up with 8 speakers. Jerry's going to be talking about agency marketing and partnership. We're going to have OP Almaraz doing the restoration mastery thing.
Dick Wagner.
Dick Wagner's going to talk about marketing. So the main keys of the summit is mindset, marketing, and what was the third one? It was an M word.
Education too. Jeremy Reitz will be there for education.
Jeremy Reitz will be there. So this particular summit, we're going to break people out into groups of 5 or 7, depending on how it works out. And we're going to have at the end of each day, this 2-day summit, and in each day we're going to have a workshop. You go to your group and talk about how you're going to implement what you learned in your business that day, or what you learned that day into your business. And not only that, you're going to stay in that cohort for the next 6 to 12 months, depending on how you guys decide you want to do it. And that's going to be your accountability partnership for that group of 5 people, those business owners that you're going to be partnered with who went to the same summit and learned the same stuff you did. You guys are going to have an agreement before you leave. I'm going to implement these things in my business. And they're going to have a weekly phone call or a weekly video. We'll facilitate that with your group to ensure that you're still moving down that road to success as you planned it. So I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Sounds great. And the tickets we get on do you have a website? I've only been on the Facebook.
Sure. RestorationRebels.com. Yep. RestorationRebels.com.
It's pinned to the very top. So when you first enter the group, and that's what I was going to ask is, I got a couple of people that have pinged me. I want to make sure it's not hard to find. I don't know if maybe that was somebody that is not there, but if it's hard to find, I need to know because we blast it on the page all day long, every day. I just want to make sure it's real easy to get to.
No, it's you go to restorationrebels.com and go to events, and it's right there. Yeah, and we've linked it up several times and blasted it out. So, all right, we're 7 minutes over. And
I have two more quick things.
Look at Clark. You didn't even put it in a memo. I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, no. So R&R Magazine February edition will be out soon. I'd like everybody to make sure to pick it up, read it, and if you get it digitally, plaster it on your social media. We've got a write up on the Restoration 2.0.
We've got a 1,700 word article coming in R&R. Yep.
And then I want to talk about, and guess what, Andy? I'm going to go ahead and drop this on you because this wasn't in the memo either. We made some executive decisions today.
Oh.
Next Wednesday on a webinar, we're going to schedule our very first educational mastermind.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to be hosted by Mr. Bob Timmel and Mr. Robert Kiefer. And it's going to be called Raising the Bar on Profitability.
Okay.
Bob,
are you ready for
Timmel,
this, Bob?
Yes, I'm ready. Yes, we're excited. Me and Clark spent some time on the phone today, and we came up with a pretty good plan.
Bob, I gotta tell you, I got mad respect for you. You've got a mind. I like every time we have a conversation, I just get a solid gold nugget out of it. So I appreciate you.
Here's how it's going to work. We're going to have a webinar much like this. I will post it in the group. I will make an event. If you select interested or going, you will be reminded the day of the event. But it's going to be a call like this. It's going to be hosted and led by the two, Robert and Bob. I'm going to be on there as a moderator just to kind of keep the subject off of other things that don't apply to that. It's going to be about profitability. Bob's got some pretty staggering figures on making good money. Get away from jobs that don't make you money and stay with the ones that do.
I like
and
it.
what to do, and just some real good nuggets. It will be a live webinar, so I invite anyone to come in that wants to do Q&A with that. Otherwise, it's going to be recorded and will be published in the group.
I like it. Can we call it the Bob and Bob show? Bob and Bob
Done.
show?
That's a pretty good one. That's pretty good. That's better than what we had. We had a different name, but I like Bob and Bob. Double Bob.
You know how many times I have clients, they're mitigation guys, and they get turned on to a repair. Like they do a big mitigation and they say, oh, the client wants me to do the repairs. But the client through the whole mitigation was just being a jerk. And I say, do you really want to do the repairs? I mean, this person has been a pain in your butt for the last 3 weeks during the mitigation. How do you think they're going to be in the repair side? Yeah, so choose your jobs. Choose your jobs. I love it. And choose your clients. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm starting to become mitigation only, man.
Yeah, because the repairs, right?
Yeah, it's too damn much, man. I mean, we're such a small company, too. I was talking to Blaine about it the other day, actually. He told me I just have to take a leap and be mitigation only, and I tried it a few times. I thought people would be pissed off, really, saying that, like, you're not going to be there to repair it and you got to get a GC out there or someone else to do it. They're just like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they understand it.
Holy shit, okay, see you, bye.
You get bogged down, right? Because mitigation, 2 or 3 or 4 day or 17 day.
Mitigation.
But it's not every repair job.
Love y'all.
I don't want to take. It's just, you guys are right. I mean, by like the 3rd day mitigation or whatever, you can tell.
You get a feeling for how they're going to be.
You just need to get the hell out of there.
Exactly right.
So much can go wrong in repairs, but mitigation, you're the hero, you're in and out, and you get paid. It's done, you know. They like you pretty much every time.
Well, the other side is mitigation is over. When it's over, right?
Yeah.
But you can get bogged down into repair for months.
Yeah,
warranty
issues. Repairs too, man. Like there's just so much bigger margin for error, and if mitigation is really what you're good at, maybe repairs just you need to stay out of, man. If you're not, really
double down on what you're good at, and don't try to improve what you're not.
I mean, we're gonna keep doing some repairs, you know, like simple ones, but once it gets anything crazy with a crazy customer, we're just starting to turn away, man.
Pick your niche. and find a rebel to do the rest. Let's post that up, because you know what? There's always going to be a rebel that will be there in your market that could pick up the slack for you. And you guys have a great agreement. Oh, are you right? I don't want to do mitigation. You can have all my mitigation. And all of a sudden you guys have a sweet setup.
Yeah.
Jake, man, I'm glad to see. Man, you're like perennial here, man. You're always here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Solid.
But I will not be at the summit, so feel free to yell at me real quick. Yeah, look at that. Sorry. Dude, I'm too busy, Clark. I'm serious, man. We're slammed. I'm a small company, man. I'm on site.
You got 3 months.
Every day.
3 months away.
Figure it out. You got 3 months to figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll
Jake, if you can't find 2 days in 3 months from now, we got to talk.
I just don't see it happening, honestly.
All right.
That's the problem. You don't see it. You got to see it. If you see it, it'll happen.
Just gotta open your eyes. You know, I'm just kidding. All right, we're razzing you. Well, once again, we're over our time, but it's a good time. It's quality time.
Andy.
Yes, sir.
One quick nugget before we leave. I saw this today. Dave Hodge posted it, and I thought it was an excellent point that we shouldn't be really calling ourselves contractors. We're really restoration specialists. When you go to a doctor,
yes,
orthopedic, or whoever it may be that you're going to see, do they call themselves contractors? No.
No.
Specialists.
Yes.
That's what we really are. We are specialists. When you demand that name tag, call yourself that, and it wears off, you're not just considered a normal everyday contractor. And that alone will help boost your ratings and boost what you're doing here.
I like that vernacular. It's good. Restoration specialist.
That's not my idea. That was David. So hats off to David.
Mr. Sweet? Yeah?
No, not that. No, that was Dave Hodge.
Okay, Dave Hodge. But I would, David would take responsibility. I mean, he would take credit for it.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
I'll give him credit for it. I'll give you credit, maybe. All right.
Before we sign off, can I ask who was the other person that was San Antonio Mitigation Company?
Yeah, Jeremy Newman right there.
Yeah. We're going to have to get together.
Oh, let me unmute you. There we go.
Man, I sent you a private message, but you just ignored me, man.
I probably have not seen it if it was through the Facebook Messenger. I think I took it off the phone, and I don't really ever get on the computer and go on. So if it was through there, I didn't even see it.
No, it's to your right. It's to the right. I actually forgot to message you while we were talking.
I still don't see it.
Hey, guys, I know a bunch of San Antonio people. Hey, Jeremy and Sean, I know a lot of San Antonio restorers. I can connect you guys with Jim Flipowitz, Brian Miller, a whole bunch of those guys in there.
Cool, man.
Now, Jeremy, you said you're working the coast. You're still doing Harvey stuff?
Yes, yeah, I have some large commercial projects going on down here, but I don't plan on. I'm trying to get out of here, ready to go home.
Yeah.
What is your company? What's your name?
Crown Restoration.
Yeah, haven't heard of you.
Yeah. Well,
he's operating like a ninja.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll message you so we can get together.
Awesome.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about, boys. I had my friend I was talking about earlier today, who has a book that she needs to just click a button and publish, but she's afraid to. My advice to her was something I learned from Will Smith, so take it with a grain of salt. But everything great in our lives, everything better than good in our lives is on the other side of fear. When we step through that fear, when we accept that fear and don't avoid it, we go through that fear, like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute on, hopefully, but jumping out of an airplane, very scary. You step through that fear, and it's a life-changing experience. Everything good in our lives is on the other side of fear. So don't be afraid of what people might think or what people will say. Do what's in your heart to go towards what you want in your life, even if that means stepping through some fear, because there's no way around it. So I love y'all. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week, like always, and we'll see you on the Facebook page. Peace, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.